here to talk about tonight. We've got 6 very sophisticated, high-end producers of custom home furnishing products. And I thought what we do, we want to keep this very sort of fast-moving, and I'm going to ask people to take no more than 90 seconds. I say 90 seconds because I know then they'll go over, but it'll be less than 5 minutes. But just a couple of minutes to introduce themselves, introduce their companies, tell us what's custom about what they do, and how they got in the business. And since Brian has the microphone, we'll start with Brian from Holland Sherry.
Great. Brian Dicker, president of Holland Sherry. Holland Sherry originally was a fabric company based in Europe, based in Scotland, selling fabrics for custom men's clothing. So we sold fabric to tailors who created one-off pieces for men clothing. I joined the company right out of college and had the opportunity to transform it, not knowingly, into a fabric company for interior designers. We took the fabric that were sold to men's custom suits, we presented them to interior designers, cashmeres, corduroys, wool flannels, and started to sell them to interior designers and started developing new products to enlarge the collection. And the first step of custom that we did, we knew the mills in Europe, we owned a mill in Europe, fabric mills. So the key question that I asked interior designers when I first met them was, what fabric do you want that you can't find that maybe we could make for you? So we started the business heavily providing a service of custom fabrics. Custom is extremely important to Holland & Sherry. We now, 14 years later, I believe is known in the industry as one of the top suppliers of custom. We do custom embroidery, we do custom rugs, we develop a lot of custom wallpaper. We just launched a custom hardware collection. We have 10 showrooms all around the world in the major cities. And doing custom is really, really important to have good people working for you. Doing custom with any company, it's all about the service, the transparency. There's a leap of faith when doing custom. So in our industry, there's reps, there's having your own showrooms, and it's really important to have good people working on your team, a lot of them if you plan to do a lot of custom, so that you make the whole process smooth. So right now I think we're at the forefront, especially with our embroidery and our rugs. One quick thing that we do with our rugs, which I think stand out compared to all the other custom rug companies, is we have a rug designer who has a program that he helped develop, which could design a rug in about an hour, make it look like it was hand knotted or hand tufted, and a picture, and it looks like someone took a picture of it in an hour. We could email it to the client and they could use it as a tool to start the order process. So the whole idea of custom, I'll be really quick. There's 4 things I always talk about custom that's important to Holland Sherry. One, that it helps build the relationship with the client. When you do custom with an interior designer, there's a lot of back and forth. It builds the relationship. Number 2, for a perception of luxury, there's nothing more luxurious than having custom. Third, it keeps the warehouses empty, which is really important. And the 4th thing, sometimes why the warehouses are full of stuff, is the things in the warehouse is out of date, out of style. With doing custom, you're always in the forefront of what is in the design. And in a sense, your designers, your interior designers you work with are designing for you. So it creates a partnership with the interior designer. And so one of the goals of Holland Sherry is to be known to be on the forefront of custom more than anything else we do.
My name is Julia Berger, and I offer custom linen services under the brand name Julia B. I started my collection probably about 12 years ago, and we offer custom linen services for the bed, the table, the baby. We're now venturing into embroidered fabrics for furniture, drapery, and we also offer linens now for outdoor use. And we are a custom linen house, which means that we basically cut and sew every piece by hand to order, to the color specification of our client, to the size that the client would like, with the fabrics that they would like. So it is a truly luxury product, which not that many linen houses know how to do or have the capability of doing right now in 2012. Part of it is due to the fact that the people who do this work no longer are doing it because they're old or they've died. So the number of younger generation who are taking this on are primarily located in third world countries. They're highly skilled. There are many people in certain villages in certain countries that do this work. And just like Brian said, it really is about the people that you work with. And so custom, in my opinion, is really about handwork, and it's about people making it happen.
My name's Andrew Molinaro. I started blacksmithing about 21 years ago. I started my company, Artisans of the Anvil, out in the Poconos about 12 years ago. My goal in my company is to learn how to form metal hot. We work with steel, copper, bronze. Interested in getting into stainless one of these days, but holding off on that for right now. The idea is that we can take the metal and use the traditional form, the traditional way of working it, hot. It's been done for hundreds and hundreds of years, and form it into the shapes that we want. And for me, custom is all about you being able to draw something or conceive of something, share it with me, and I can use my abilities that I've been training for the past 22 years, 21 years, to make that a reality. And a couple of these slides are really nice, thank you, sir. Show a drawing and then the finished product. And the idea being that I want to make my work, and someday I want to do sculpture, and we kind of play around with a lot of different things, but I enjoy working with designers because there's more brains in the room, you know? There's more ideas out there. So if you come up with ideas that I can make, I'm a larger person, and you can learn something too, and ultimately we make beautiful things. I've developed a network of smiths, and we've developed a pretty good network of people. So if we get work, we can broaden our shop, which is about an hour and a half away, and do custom work fairly quickly, given the amount of work involved. So for me, custom is that. Custom is coming up with an idea and making it a reality, and not having to choose from A, B, and C.
This is Nina Helms. Nina, how did you get in the business?
Okay.
Obviously, you'll tell us what's custom about your work, and take it away.
Okay. Hi. My last trip to France, I noticed in a chateau these beautiful sculptures. They were made out of plaster, and they were hung on plaster walls. They were big, they were heavy, they were beautiful, and they were old. And I thought, you know, I can do that, but I can do it better. And I can bring the materials into this century, and I can make art that's custom to whatever the client wants. These pieces look and feel like plaster, but they're really not. I sculpt them in clay, and then I make a mold, and I use a composite as my material, and I finish it to look like plaster. So they're really unbreakable. I can take fabric and take a motif out of the fabric and make a sculpture of that. I can do any shape the client wants, and what's so beautiful about it is it's unique. It can be done in multiples or a single piece, and I love what I do.
And Trudy's representing Vincent, because Vincent's traveling the world trying to buy this stuff, right?
Hi. I started in this industry as a business person. I think you need to hold the mic up to you.
I decided to start in this business on the business side of interior design, and went to school at night and got into the interior design, so I basically know it all the way around. When I started with Vincent, I was very young, and it's about 36 years that we've been together. And what we've done was, Vincent designs very high-end. I was realizing that we had lots of clients who came into our showroom who wanted Vincent Wolf look, but they couldn't afford it. So I took VW showroom to the next level. I will do anything custom. If you walk in and you see a little table, I can make that a desk for you. I make sure that whatever designer walks in, I will do whatever they ask me to do. I will offer suggestions, and if clients walk in, they usually walk in and say, I want a table, or I want this, and when they walk out, I've just redesigned their whole living room. So I think custom is a very important part of our business. Clients always want something different, and they want to know that something has been designed especially for them, and that they come in and get the Vincent Wolf look, and it's customized just for them, really makes them feel special.
Anthony Lawrence is a third-generation business. It was started by my grandfather. It was under a different name. My father changed it to Anthony Lawrence. Now my sister and I run Anthony Lawrence, so she's the Valentino of curtain making. Self-serving. Anyway, custom furniture, curtains, we do everything here. Cabinets, antique restorations. There isn't anything that we don't do when a designer walks in here. There are a few of our clients here now that know this. Custom furniture, it's like having a suit tailored to you. It's really meant to, when a client sits in it, they want to feel comfortable. Clients come in all different heights, sizes, shapes. So when we sit down with a client and we're going through the process, it's all about how they feel when they're sitting in a chair, or they're sitting in a sofa. Everybody has different needs. And so we really work around trying to make them feel comfortable. And then obviously it's up to the designers to scale things, and we try to work with them to keep things proportionate so that everything just works smoothly.
Customers get something that is unique, right? Well, I heard a lot of sort of pride of artistry from the 6 people we have here. How they're using design talents and execution talents. And I also heard some ideas about the business model. As a manufacturer or producer, we don't have to have a big warehouse and have it filled with product that we hope someone wants to buy. So I can see all sorts of benefits for both the manufacturer and for the interior designers. My question to the panel is, what should interior designers know about working with a custom provider? What's different about that? And how can interior designers work with you more effectively?
Doing custom with an interior designer, with the vendor, is a lot more difficult in regards to executing, due to the fact of the complexity of communication, and finally getting the product that everyone wanted done. Doing custom, it's all about visualization, and if it doesn't exist, it's hard to, in a sense, see what it's going to look like until it's actually done. So the communication has to be really good, so the relationship is key. To me, it's all about the relationship, and with regards to in custom, there's a leap of faith when it comes to not knowing exactly what you're going to get. So on our side, what we like to talk about is the assets of our company and how we can make it simple for the client. Interior designer, I always say, the most precious asset to an interior designer is time. So it behooves us to make custom as smooth as possible, so everyone is happy.
So let me pick up on that and ask some of the other panelists. So how do you, given that you're creating something that hasn't been created before, and there's uncertainty about it, how do you ensure proper communication is great, but if people aren't able to visualize it, how do you ensure that what you're thinking that you're going to make is in fact what the client wants?
You have to know your craft. I mean, it was a lot easier when they did blueprints, and you could see something and you could get a feel from it through a blueprint. But now you have CAD drawings are not the same. So you really have to understand, and you have to have a good communication with the designer.
Do you find that designers are able to look at your sort of drawings or your mock-ups or whatever, and are they able to get it, or is that a challenge in communication?
We have to get it because they're supplying us with the drawings, so we have to understand that.
Okay, so your designer is saying this is what I want, and then you have to understand that. Is that the same for you, Trudy?
Most of the designers that I deal with, they'll ask me, can you change something? So what I will do is I will send them pictures. And this is the seat, this is the arm, here's the leg. And then because they're designers, they're able to put it together.
Okay.
And what can be done. And whatever they ask, I try and make happen.
So they look at something that you have and then say, well, I like that, but I want it in red, or I want it in blue, or I want it bigger or smaller. So you're giving them something to work with. How about in the metal business?
It's funny because I had a customer come in just the other day and said, what do I put in this space? And I'm thinking, oh dear, what space? You know, it's a huge, you know, you can go a million different directions. And so for us, what we find is prototypes and drawings are the way that we get products that are exactly what the customer wants, ultimately. And also, the designer going out on that limb and coming up with a strong direction is very important for me because I can do anything. And so having a good, strong direction and then working back and forth and doing sketches. You start with sketches, we proceed to, yeah, that's a good sketch, it's not a good sketch, right into drawings, full scale or scale drawings, and then prototypes usually. That's my way of making sure that we don't have disappointed clients in the backside of the project. And
okay, but it's going to happen, isn't it? So what happens when, Trudy, you spend whatever, I don't know how long it takes you to make your wall sculptures, but you spend a month or 2 months and you think it's what the client wanted, and the client comes and says, Trudy,
Nina.
Oh, Nina, I'm sorry. Nina, I love you, I love your work, but I just don't like this, and that's not what I expected. How do you deal with that?
That would never happen because I first start off with whatever input the designer gives me. The more input, the better. I love it. Then I might do a little tiny sketch. That gets approved. Then I do a life-size sketch. That gets approved. Then I sculpt it in clay, and as I'm sculpting it, I take photographs, and the client can see it even if they're in Tokyo or Shanghai. Then they say, yeah, but tweak this over here. I do it. I photograph it again. So everywhere along the line, I get approvals.
Okay, so it's really a matter of the communication
Totally.
and multiple steps and never getting so far away.
Never.
if I may, there's a lot of, I hate to say this, is a really terrible thing to say, but there's a lot of out-of-work graphic artists right now, and we've actually picked up one that helps us when we do our sketches, our scale drawings. Actually drop those scale drawings, give them texture, use Photoshop and so forth to render them out. And it's not quite like a rendering service, it's a little bit more basic, but it's really helpful. In fact, I had a client 3 weeks ago say to me, wow, Andrew, if you have a customer that has trouble visualizing, do this. This really worked for me. And she, you know, it's neat because you just take that scale drawing and then just colorize it. Put a little bit of, you know, Photoshop magic into it and give it some context. We took a photograph of the site and dropped it in on top of the photograph. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, you know, super professional. It just really brings that context home.
Well, I think that we're in a visual design kind of, everybody's visual here. We base ourselves off of visualization, so I think visualization is important. So if the designer is creating something, I also think it's important for the people who are behind the scenes, like all of you on the panel, to understand and know what the designer wants. And I think after years of experience, You know that, you read that, you understand that, you get it. I mean,
and that's why we're here, right? I mean, we have some things here for y'all to come and look at and use this as a tool, right? To visualize those same things, even if you don't like drawing. That's kind of what we're doing here. That's what we're all about here right now. So that's what I'm here for. Because the iron doesn't work, you know, I can't show you a picture.
Great products, all of you. And you're all passionate about what you do.
And can I gotta go back to my other question. Any of you would like to share a particular project of which you are most proud?
I brought in a hotel and they needed 126 rooms. And Vincent designed it, and I convinced Vincent into letting, Vincent designed all the rooms at the hotel, and I convinced Vincent into letting VW Home do all his custom pieces with a vendor who worked for someone else and said, Trudy, if you get me this job, I will leave my company. I will leave my company and open up a warehouse, get all the manufacturing equipment that I need, and I will work solely for you. And we did it.
But just to get back to, I think, you know, when you do custom work, every project is special. And when you're cutting and sewing every single piece and delivering to a group of clients that really appreciate and understand it and are also paying top dollar. And we haven't talked about price in any of this conversation today, but obviously these customers also pay a huge premium for custom. So for me, every single time I get a reorder, that's the best moment because I know that they are happy and they want more.
Ryan, do you have a particular project that stands out as something that is a flagship for you?
Our usual customs tend to be embroidery and rugs, which on any given date, I guess today we probably have about 100 different projects going as we speak, custom. But the one that really stands out is Holland Sherry is known more for high-end residential, but we're starting to work more and more on the hospitality side. We own our own factory in Chile, South America, that does linen and wool. And we landed a big hotel job in New York, a very large one. And they selected a fabric, 100% wool fabric, for every room, 1,500 rooms of the hotel. And of course, the price that we normally charge didn't fit the budget. And we developed we downweaved the fabric, I guess you would call it, where the original price is $95, but since they're buying over 100,000 yards, the price is now $18. And to be honest with you, I can't tell the difference in quality of the hand. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm very proud of the job due to the fact that sometimes you have to sacrifice quality or perceived quality. And in this case, I don't think we did. So, and it's also new for us, so it's exciting.
So I'm going to ask one more question, go around and ask everyone to answer the question, then I'll open it up some more. So how long does it take to make a custom product at Holland Sherry?
Anything from 2 weeks to a year. Matters on the product.
So what can you get in 2 weeks, and what do we have to wait for a year?
With regards to embroidery, if the project, we quote for our embroidery 6 to 8 weeks delivery, but it really only takes 2 weeks if everything is smooth. So if a client comes to us and says, I need something in 2 weeks, or I can't give you the order, there's a good chance we could do it, and so that's 2 weeks. And a year could be a very high knot count rug.
Okay. Julia, how long does it take to make custom bedding?
Anywhere from 3 to 8 weeks.
Okay. 3 to 8. Andrew?
8 to 12.
8 to 12?
Most things. I mean, if it's, we can usually run prototypes out a little quicker, samples, those sorts of things. But there's a schedule always. We only have so many smiths that are capable, and of course the higher the quality piece,
Right, and
The fewer guys can work on it.
Lena?
I'd say 3 weeks to 12 weeks. A piece like that is very detailed, so that could take me a good two to 3 months to do. A simpler piece, shorter.
Okay. Judy?
Anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks from time up to deposit.
Time of deposit. This is very, I hope you heard that out there. We don't start making it until we see the green stuff. Huh? Joe?
Probably average 12 weeks, but we could run up to 24 weeks depending on the time of the year and how busy we are.
So I think there's a sort of a lesson here that part of it is to have good relationships is the communication, but then also realizing this is a custom product. I mean, I know those restaurants where you say, you know, good food takes time to cook, so don't be so impatient. That probably applies here a little bit as well, that you have to realize that this is something being made for you, and it may take a little longer than if you're buying it off the shelf.